On ABC Radio Brisbane, you're listening to Rebecca Levingston.
21 minutes to 10. It's not just a feeling about fitness. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of chatter around sports that might consider relocating to Brisbane in the wake of the 2032 Olympics announcement. Everything from cycling to water polo, even a discussion reportedly with the Australian Institute of Sport. That's potentially music to the ears of those who work in the realm of fitness. And Fit Education is a registered training organisation. They specialise in sport and fitness. Chris Weier is the CEO of Fit Education. Chris, good morning.
Morning, Rebecca. Thanks for having me.
Got to say, you look the part, Chris.
Thank you.
You look fit. You look like you've just done a couple of hundred push-ups, or maybe what have you been doing this morning? Any planking?
Bit of cycling this morning.
Bit of cycling. Got any inside word on? Because cycling's one of the sports that apparently there's chatter about sort of relocating their headquarters to Brisbane.
Well, there's the fantastic Anime's Velodrome in Brisbane, and it's a world-class facility, and I'm lucky enough to ride there a couple of times a week. So, relocate cycling to Brisbane, I say.
Gets your vote. What makes a world-class velodrome?
Well, they've just built the Anime's Velodrome for the Commonwealth Games, and it's part of the Olympic 2032 planning. And when you go out there, it's just amazing, I suppose. You look at the banks and how it's constructed, and the spectator seating. Yeah, it's just a beautiful facility.
Yeah,
you're lucky.
Okay. And obviously high quality facilities from both the athlete's perspective and the spectator perspective. Some of us are more likely to be in the spectator seats. What about the Australian Institute of Sport? Do you reckon that should relocate to Brisbane?
Oh, it'd be amazing. I think there's a few hurdles that they'd have to get through first of all, but I'm happy to put my name towards getting them up here. Yeah, Queensland. How lucky are we?
Well, lucky, or is it, whenever I talk about luck in this state, people tend to say to me, oh, it's because people have worked and made good decisions and, trained, I guess, essentially in order to hit milestones and achievements, which you would know about working in Fit Education. Just explain the concept behind your business.
So Fit Education is an RTO, and we focus on training sports and fitness professionals, so personal trainers, gym instructors and sports coaches and sport development officers. So we established ourselves 20 odd years ago training sports people, and thought we could make a big difference by implementing those training practices and educating the future coaches and professionals.
Right, so you kind of train the trainers.
Train the trainers.
Got to say, Chris, in the last 10 years, you cannot sprint through a suburb in Brisbane without running into a gym. The proliferation of gyms, 24-hour gyms, personal trainers, people in the parks with trainers, boxing, leaping, hula hooping, doing whatnot. What sort of growth have you seen? Like, do you have any figures on that?
It's amazing, Rebecca, amazing. Yeah, there's gyms everywhere. Just where we're located in Chelmer, I've got 2 gyms right beside me. I've got an outdoor fitness specialist. I've got 2 sports clubs. I've got a school, a boxing gym. Yeah, it's going gangbusters, which is obviously exciting for us. I think it was also highlighted by the recent COVID pandemic, and one of the first things you're allowed to do when everything was locked down was exercise. So I think everything's been highlighted. The importance of exercise and fitness to a person's well-being has been highlighted through this pandemic. If I look at the current job rates, I haven't seen this many job ads for personal trainers, gym instructors, sports coaches as there are now. So I'm constantly getting phoned up by gyms around the local gyms asking for, send us your personal trainers. So again, that's great for us, and I'm sure some of that's on the back of the Brisbane 2032 Olympics, but I think it's also just an increased awareness from society that we need fitness and health is really important.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of different sort of milestones or incentives in there, because you're saying, gyms were already on the up pre-pandemic. The pandemic's put a focus on it, and now perhaps the Olympics as well. Do you share my anecdotal observation that somehow overnight Brisbane just looked a bit more active when we won the 2032 Olympics? Or is that in my head?
No, there's a buzz around, and it was highlighted when I woke up the day after the announcement, and my next door neighbour's kids, there's 3 young boys, were out there on the driveway playing sport. I said, "What are you up to, boys?" And they said, "We're training for the Olympics." And one of them was wearing his Spider-Man uniform, so I don't know what he was training for. The other one was training for Aussie Rules. Yep. And the other one was training for soccer. So.
Well, soccer's in there. Aussie Rules, there's a bit of work to get it in there. And the Spider-Man, well, that's the rock sport. The
rock climbing, yeah.
Rock climbing, that was, because it wasn't that was in the Tokyo Olympics. I'm not sure. Was it a kind of a trophy event or whatever you call it?
No, it was a full event, and one of our students she just missed out on qualifying for it. But again, I gained good insights into rock climbing from her. Yeah, I'll stay away from it.
Many people, as they tend to do, became armchair experts in various sports, and rock climbing was one of them, being in the Olympics for the first time in Tokyo. You're listening to Chris Weier, the CEO of Fit Education, a registered training organisation who specialise in sport and fitness qualifications. One of the other sports that featured this year was skateboarding in the Olympics, and that's caught your eye recently. Why?
Excitement. I think as you look at the Olympics, you think of all the traditional sports. Skateboarding is a new sport, and it brings excitement. There's moves, there's air, there's lots of exciting things.
What's also exciting is receiving a $15,000 scholarship in skateboarding, which you've just awarded to Tommy Finn. Who is Tommy?
Tommy is one of the most high-profile skateboarders, professional skateboarders in Australia and the world. And we got in contact with Tommy through Donny Fraser, who's Australian Skateboarding Federation President, CEO. And Donny was keen to improve coach education within skateboarding and increase professionalism. And so we've been working with Donny, and Donny recommended Tommy Finn as one of the best skateboarders around, but also a potential coach looking down the track to Brisbane 2032 and coaching teams.
Okay. Well, it would have been lovely to have had Donny and Tommy in studio, rolling into studio this morning on skateboards. But Donny Fraser is actually on his way to an event this morning. Donny's the director of the Australian Skateboarding Federation. Hello, Donny.
Hello there, how are you?
Really well, thank you. Where are you?
I am currently in a hotel room in Mackay.
What's happening in Mackay?
We have the Queensland Bowl Riding Championships and the ASF National Street Championships all happening here next week, across an entire week.
Okay.
It's a giant skateboard festival.
Yeah, and just remembering you were armchair experts absolutely at skateboarding, but just to be clear, the Queensland Bowl Riding Championships, as in skate bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So take us through what's going to happen there. What's it look like? What kind of tricks will people be doing?
It's very similar to, if anyone watched the park in the Olympics. So park and bowl are very similar, but the bowl is more like the closed-off sort of empty pool where they do the really long grinds, really big airs, a lot of different flip tricks and stuff. So it's a really good showcase event, that one. We get a huge crowd come down. It's, all the grandstands are full every year. That's a really good spectacle, and that's one of the highlights of the week. And we get some really amazing skateboarders coming from everywhere to compete, which is fantastic.
With skateboarding being at the Olympics this year, Donny, have you seen a sort of bump in interest in the sport, or even just casually at local parks or bowls?
It's been very different. We had a boom before Tokyo with grassroots participation, and a lot of people during that first national lockdown took up skateboarding in their garages. So when that opened up again, all the skateboard schools opened again, and they were booked out for months. What we're seeing now with the Olympics is, I guess, skateboarding is in a big development stage. It needs growth. It needs more televised coverage and things like that. What we're seeing is a lot more people, I guess, investing in skateboarding to grow, and seeing the potential of it and what it does for the community and the great community it is, and sort of helping it develop further and get more of the needs that it needs in its development.
Yeah, which comes back to the scholarship that Fit Education has awarded to Tommy Finn. But Donny, even just hearing you as the director of the Australian Skateboarding Federation talk about skateboarding schools, I wonder how many people would be aware that there are skateboarding schools. What happens at skateboarding school?
So they normally run either after school or on weekends. They're basically like learn to skate programs. They're either one-on-one or in different groups. And in Brisbane alone, there's quite a number of them. There's one in Paddington there. There's a specialised one for adult women. There's an NDIS one. And then the council one, the free one, all year long. So if people just say Google, like, learn to skate Brisbane, they'll come up with, like, a number of options where they can literally just book in and, turn up and go.
Wow. Okay. And as you and Chris are saying, in terms of the profile of skateboarding and indeed some other sports in the lead up to 2032, it seems like there is a real appetite for people to get fit. How good a skater is Tommy Finn?
He's, I guess he's got, like, knowing him and how he operates, he's a very sort of well-oiled machine. Like, he is the top level. He's in, rides with some of the biggest brands and has a fantastic profile. But, he's very disciplined as well. Like, he looks after himself. He's had very minimal injuries. Like, he's the ultimate professional on the board and off it as well.
Well, when you and Tommy are back in Brisbane after you have your championships in Mackay, will you come in, bring your skateboards? Do you still skate yourself, Donny?
I do, yeah. I'm a bit injured at the moment, but that's pretty normal.
Oh, no. What have you done?
I've torn cartilage in both sides of my knee, so just waiting on a quick surgery to tidy that up when I get back.
Okay, all right. Well, actually, to be fair, I don't know if the workplace health and safety bosses would let you do much skating here in the ABC building. But I'd love to catch up with you when you're both back in Brisbane and see how things go in Mackay. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem at all.
Donny Fraser, Director of the Australian Skateboarding Federation, might roll back into the studio, Chris, when he's back in town. So, what do you hope that Tommy does with the scholarship that you've awarded?
I can't wait to see Tommy apply that to coaching. He already does a lot of coaching, and I suppose this is to help improve his knowledge and background education for professional skateboarding. And yeah, I'd love to see him at the Olympics being the head skateboard coach.
Wow. Who else have you worked with, whether it's sports or other athletes? Anyone that my listeners would know?
Well, we've just had 9 of our students and graduates at the Tokyo Olympics. We've got 4
hang on, don't skate over that. Who? What sports?
Well, one of them, Emily Gielnick, was in the Matildas. She's one of our great graduates. She studied Cert 3, Cert 4 in fitness as well as the Diploma of Sport. And not only is she a great Matilda football player, she's also keen to become a strength and conditioning coach of one of those soccer teams at the other end. She's also runs her own Shred'em fitness business. So, yeah, amazing.
Shred 'em. Well, apparently most people need to shred about 5 kilos. So, it'd be very necessary to catch up with people like Emily. It's really lovely to meet you this morning, Chris. And here's to fitness, health and well-being in whatever form people choose to do it. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Rebecca.
Chris Weier, CEO of Fit Education. Do you want to have a push-ups challenge?
In.